This guy is awesome. He's from Chicago, Illinois. Please welcome to the stage, Mr. Danny Lang!
Alrighty. Hi, everybody. Hi there. I'm happy to be here. My family lives up here. It's honestly been kind of a wild year for us. Yesterday, my mom turned 60. So that's exciting. She also beat cancer this year. And to make it about me, we passed the 10-year mark of me being out of the closet to my parents this year. Thank you. It's an easy date to remember. It was their wedding anniversary, which is one of the gayest times to come out of the closet. Just, oh, this day has nothing to do with me? Okay, we'll see about that. But they handled it well for a little while. They wanted to send me on a singles retreat, which is what I called it. They called it conversion therapy, but what better place to meet eligible men, am I right, fellas? I did watch an unhealthy amount of documentaries on conversion therapy just to psych myself up. And one of the documentaries followed a conversion therapy camp, and it showed the counselors preparing the big play they were going to put on for everybody. And I was like, that is evidence enough that this isn't working. Sorry, your big trick to turning people straight was theater? Shocker, that's not panning out. If I had to rank the gayest activities that I've participated in, it would go musical theater, regular theater, having sex with men. It's a lot less flamboyant to bring a man to climax than it is to earnestly sing Grease Lightning. Like in high school, I was the only kid who was out of the closet, and I did theater. And one day during rehearsal, someone had the audacity to ask me, Danny, how does it feel being the only gay person here? I was like, I fucking doubt it. You think I'm the only queer in this auditorium doing the hand jive right now? My mom reacted fine. My dad wasn't fully on board at first, and then he watched Grace and Frankie and got over it. Love my dad, great guy. Does not always think through everything he says out loud or all of his actions, but what can you do? He recently told me he regrets not joining the Army, and I reminded him he was the stay-at-home parent. I was like, oh no, fascinating. You'd rather go to war than hang out. That's eye-opening. So he just had small whoops-a-daisies like that. Like early one summer morning, he woke me up and was like, Danny, I need your help outside with something real quick, which was way too nonchalant for what was about to happen. Because I go outside to see that he is filling a bucket with hose water, which doesn't catch my eye nearly as much as the caged and terrified chipmunk. Oh, no. Yeah. He was like, Danny, I don't know if you're aware of this, we have a chipmunk problem. I was like, kind of seems like you're the one with the chipmunk problem. I woke up 30 seconds ago. Like, is the problem you're catching them like Pokemon and bringing them to the house? Because I'm well aware of that. He was like, they've been getting into our gutters and they can cause some serious property damage, which to me does not seem like a DIY situation. But nevertheless, my dad said, all right, while I hold the bucket steady, I'm gonna need you to push the cage underwater. Yeah, so I start to cry. Which is an appropriate response for quite a few reasons. One, my dad just asked me to take my first steps to becoming a serial killer. Steps I could have taken on my own time, thank you. Second, I'm definitely being given the harder of the two tasks. And lastly, I was 9 years old at that time. Yeah, had not hit double digits yet, but these were chores my father deemed appropriate. Great time to bring up, I'm the youngest of 3 kids. My older brothers were sleeping soundly in the house behind me. I have no idea what stood out on my resume. But eventually my dad said, all right, fine, you don't have to do this, but you do need to toughen up. And I'd say we experienced the consequences of that sentence about a year later. When me, my brother, and a couple of our friends were riding our bikes around the neighborhood, a chipmunk jumped out in the road. My brother didn't have time to swerve, hits it, kills it, sad. But we wanted to keep riding our bikes around, so we had to do something about it. So we scooped it up, walked to the side of the road and tossed it directly into my neighbor's mailbox. And yeah, hindsight's 2020, what we did was awful. In the moment, thought it was hilarious, primarily because it was my idea. So we're starting to see that the seeds my father has sown are blossoming into a nightmare for the entire community. Because we go home, we don't even think twice about it until my parents get a pretty upsetting phone call that prompts them to walk in the living room. They're like, Sam, Danny, did you guys put a dead animal in the neighbor's mailbox? And we were like, no, but that sounds like a really good bit. And then my dad said, okay, well, we already called your friends and they admitted that you guys all did that together. It's like, oh, classic Kevin Lang setting traps. And I'm sure a lot of you are waiting for my mom to chime in and be the voice of reason, and you people can wait a little while longer, because she said the most fucked up part, which was, we're not mad that you did it, we're mad that you lied about it. I was like, holy shit, I'm not a parent, you should be mad at both. Pretty sure what we did here today was a crime, but they've been fans of my comedy ever since. Has not stopped the psychological warfare they continue to wage. Like in 6th grade, my dad was my volleyball coach, and he thought it would be a productive use of team huddle time to rank how everyone was doing. And some kids don't need the truth verbalized like that. But my dad went ahead and said that me and this kid, Evan, were doing the worst. I was holding back tears because I was a little used to my father's erratic behavior. Who wasn't Evan? Evan was crying. And then Evan's mom had a 30-minute chat with my dad about what is and isn't appropriate to say to children. A chat I wish every coach was given, because the very next year I had one yell at me, Lang, get your head out of your ass and into the game. I was like, sir, this is the B team. It's not how I pictured my Friday night panning out either. My middle school for most sports had an A team and a B team. The A team was for the more athletic kids, and the B team was for kids with eating disorders. And if you didn't walk in with one, you left with one. They were abundant. We frequently had to do shirts versus skins, which, if you're a grown adult making children do that, you should be in prison. Here's a crazy idea. How about I remember who's on my fucking team? Has anyone tried that before? That way nobody has to have their tits out during practice. I would have appreciated that. I was expected to memorize the names and locations of all 50 states. I think I can manage the 4 people I can pass the ball to. Yeah, I did have bad body image issues all throughout my teens, primarily because I looked horrible. Nobody said that directly to my face, but I picked up on context clues. My friends were all really into the Harry Potter books. I never caught on the reading bandwagon myself, but I'd go see the movies with them. And before we saw the last one, they were like, let's all dress up as characters before we go, which is fun in theory. But does anybody here want to take a guess as to which character they thought I resembled the most and who I should dress up as? All right, never mind, forget it. Someone decided to make an enemy tonight and say Dobby. Thought I'd play a fun game with the audience. Got my feelings hurt. No, I'm not mad at you, whoever said that. I'm just mad because you're correct. My friends thought I looked like Dobby, who is a gremlin. And whose notable outfit is a burlap sack. That's how I got to dress in public, to see a movie in which, spoiler alert, he dies. But don't worry, it wasn't just my peers that made unsolicited comments about my appearance. It was also full-grown adults. Like I said, I did theater in high school, and nobody's as ruthless when it comes to describing a teenager's body like a high school theater director. Howard said to me, Danny, your dancing's improved so much over the past few years. Do you know who you remind me of? That old Disney cartoon, Spooky Scary Skeletons. Caught me again, was really expecting to hear a human name. That's on me, I guess. In his defense, I did weigh 20 pounds less and have a buzz cut, so I did look like a corpse. That was a haircut I was not pulling off. No one gave me that constructive criticism. Not that it really would have mattered due to another fun, quirky choice my parents made. We did haircuts at home. Yeah, so my father, a heterosexual man with the eyesight of Mr. Magoo, was allowed to take a razor to my skull once a month. Didn't have that many hairdos in his repertoire, turns out, so I just got to go to school looking fresh out of brain surgery. Move me to save the family a little extra money just cost me all my self-esteem. I feel bad. I do pay my father to be an absolute monster. He's a lovely man with many talents. It just fucking bites that his biggest talent is humbling me. He's been referring to me as an old soul, which is not a compliment. Have you guys met the elderly? I used to work in IT customer support, so unfortunately I've met all of them, and they're difficult to say the least. For those who haven't worked in that field, I'd say it's a lot like helping your parents or your grandparents set up their Wi-Fi, except they hate you. And you're not allowed to hang up unless they threaten your life twice. That was management's rule. And even when they aren't being aggressively hostile, they can still say things that rattle you to your core. One gentleman said to me, "What was your name, Danny?" "I had a friend named Danny." "Well, my sister's friend who was killed in 1987. And you haven't met another one since, huh? That's wild. Way to ruin my day. See, I also don't like being called an old soul because I had to start taking medication for back pain and hair loss. 26 years young, ladies and gentlemen. And they nearly didn't give me the hair loss pills because they were like, these can increase feelings of anxiety and depression. I was like, you know what else is going to do that? Me losing my hair. Nothing would tank my mental health faster than looking like Dobby again. Because turns out when your body's constantly being compared to those of goblins and monsters, you can develop body dysmorphia, whoops-a-daisy. But you know, I'm working on it. I do feel a lot more confident in my body nowadays, regardless of what people still choose to say directly to my fucking face. Like I went through a breakup at the end of last year, and the first person that I hooked up with post-breakup said out loud to me, "So, do they not give you a free membership at the gym you work at?" Like, Jesus Christ, are we at a roast battle? It was like if you just gained 5 pounds of muscle and then pointed to areas he thought I could tone up. Yeah, it was like a lot of comments on my body for somebody who just came inside of it. Pretty quickly, might I add, so I'm actually doing something right. And in case you're wondering, what did he look like? Me. Just a twink with a different hair color. I was like, listen to me, you four-eyed faggot. I could eat you and not gain 5 pounds, so maybe zip it. But I should be grateful he helped me get my revenge body. It's his, it's buried in my backyard. Thank you, I'm stunning, gorgeous. Very much appreciate it. I do work at a gym though, and it's fun, it's fine. I am a facilities operation manager, which is the fanciest way of saying I fold towels for a living. And I love it. I've become alarmingly passionate about these towels. Like my boss will frequently be like, "We should be out here helping you with these more." I'm like, "How about you stay in your own goddamn lane, Sarah?" You gonna see me shoving my nose in your business, personal training, or reading my emails? I have a system, and they fuck it up every single time. You know, I fold the towels, I make a little pyramid, usually with a base of about 7 to 10 towels, and I've gotten pretty good at eyeballing a basket of towels and knowing how big I'm gonna need to make the base, and yeah, I'm high all the time at work. And I think I deserve that, you know, because like I said, I used to work in IT customer support. What I didn't mention was that it was IT customer support for hospital networks. Yeah, a job I started in June of 2020 for $15 an hour, averaging 350 phone calls a week with 2-minute breaks in between. So I do think I've earned to get a little stony baloney and fold some laundry. Either that or I get to fist fight one elderly person. Thank you. I choose a bad one because there's a plethora. Yeah, I'm just shocked that I had to follow HIPAA rules and regulations. That's crazy. But yeah, I do smoke a fair amount of weed. I do think it's fine. I got into marijuana the same way I got into my other hobbies. My older brothers introduced it to me, which is something the DARE program doesn't bring up. They made it seem like it was going to be a complete stranger, not my closest immediate relatives. Like I used to think that I smoked a lot in college, and then I hung out with my brother Sam for a few months, and now I do for sure. Sam's go-to method of smoking was through a gravity bong, which, for those who have not had the privilege, a gravity bong is when you take an empty Gatorade bottle or a soda bottle and some tin foil, garbage, and a small science fair project later, you're just sky high in your childhood home again. And I was just more used to edibles. I love those guys. Love that you never know what you're gonna get, whether it's a relaxing afternoon or a waking nightmare. Like the first time I bought a pop run for myself was in college. I bought it from my friend Kelly, who as she handed it to me said, "Don't worry, this isn't cut with Xanax." That's something I didn't realize was on the menu. I wasn't gonna change up my order, but I would have double checked some things. Did I trust her? No. Did I eat the whole thing? Yeah. Did I then go see a 3-act long college theater production of a play about Adam and Eve? Yeah, I made a lot of wrong choices that day. Saw that with my very sober and angry friend Claire, and every 14 minutes I had to look at her and ask, was that supposed to happen? And then she'd look at me and say, I'm also in the audience. I don't know. So it was like, yeah, it doesn't matter if there were sedatives in that brownie, I'm having a bad time. My parents think that we smoke too much, which is fair. It's hard to consider 3 gravity bong hits a night recreational, but my brothers try. They're like, you can't be addicted to weed. I'm like, you can be addicted to anything. They made a whole show about it. And like my parents don't like how much we smoke, and that's fine. I'm not in love with a lot of the bold choices they made in my youth either. Like growing up, I was a very nervous kid, and something they would tell me when I was a bit too wound up was to go for a run, to kind of blow off steam. Yeah, because I took their advice, and then they misinterpreted that as a passion for running and not mental illness. Just constantly getting me running paraphernalia. All I asked for was a therapist. And I did ask. In high school, I asked if I could go to therapy, and my mom told me that her doctor told her that therapy only works if you've had something traumatic happen to you. I was like, yeah, I've got a laundry list of stunts your husband has pulled while you're at work. I bet a couple of those would qualify me, but luckily my dad was in the conversation and needed a solution. He was like, well, your Aunt Deb sees this homeopath named Beth that she swears by she can get to the bottom of things. I was like, okay, yeah, homeopaths, not doctors. I don't know who needs to hear that. My brother makes gravity bongs in the garage, doesn't mean he's a rocket scientist. And also Aunt Deb lives 8 hours away in Minnesota. I bring that up thinking I dodged a bullet, but no, my dad had a workaround. He was like, oh, we don't actually have to go there. We can just cut off some of your hair and mail it to her. Convenient for everybody, that's awesome. And super practical. So we put it to a vote. I lost. Chopped off a little bit of my hair, sent it through the U.S. Postal Service to a stranger in exchange for 2 vials of non-FDA approved potions. Just kind of goes to show you that mental instability is genetic. The apple does not fall far from the tree. I too am delusional. During the pandemic, I definitely bought a spell book. To see what would happen. Started doing tarot readings, again, ripping 3 gravity bong hits a night. I was not tethered to reality by any means. However, I'm not recommending that lifestyle to other people. When my mom was diagnosed with cancer, I wasn't like, hey, instead of going to medical professionals, you should go to this witch doctor I know. Her name's Beth. She's the worst. Unfortunately, hair loss is not out of the equation quite yet. Okay, it's good to end on silence. Thank you guys so much. Have a good rest of your night.